Cool. Are we going there?
Oh, mate, we're in.
We in? Oh, shit.
You know, just where in before you even start this other stuff. The traffic around here and that bit over there, the bit they still haven't done the ramp that comes down here to Broadway.
Like yesterday, I saw like a gridlock, and I'm like, I feel sorry for them. I'm like, yo, bro, you should really take that Carney U-turn. I've done the U-turn one time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that. When I seen it all the way back right there, I'm like, I'm gonna turn around, come down into the Carney part, come down that highway, and come around and
work your way through.
Take truck. And come around. Like,
to be fair, I didn't think that when I came down here tonight, the first thing we'd be talking about was traffic in Jersey City. I'm happy to talk about it with you. I appreciate your, what would the word be?
Candor?
Candor? I don't know. Candor, maybe patience, maybe understanding of my technological inabilities.
Yeah, for sure.
And patience with me texting you every day and saying, hey, you good this week? Persistence is key.
Yeah, I felt good. And I knew once I made money earlier selling art, I'm feel good later. I was like, this is working out perfect.
Welcome to the Crossing the Pond podcast, hosted by me, Gary Adair, where each week our guests will recount their own experiences of resilience and transformation, whether it's moving to a new country, tackling health challenges, changing careers, or breaking through personal barriers. My guest this week cites graffiti, comic books, and his Haitian heritage as the major creative influences on his artwork. André Nicolas gives us the rundown on his development and emergence as a successful artist in his new home of Jersey City, the importance of fostering a creative community, and conquering fears to cross those lines that we create to hold us back in our personal and professional journeys. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy. We'll go into it, right? Haitian parents, Haitian family.
Yep.
Grew up in Newark, first of all.
Newark, New Jersey. I always forget the ward, but it was on Mapes Avenue and Bergen Avenue. And I love that area because right now, if me and you were to like Google, put like Newark drifting, that's the block I grew up. And they have like a whole video of just dudes with this BMW just doing spins and stuff. It's not too long ago. That's how that area looks. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a war zone, but at the same time, it's like it has a family element.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never got to see it because I wasn't allowed outside. I was very sheltered.
What was it like then? People would say, like, people who don't know, right? People would say, oh, Newark, big African-American community, everyone's in there and everything else. But what's it like being a Haitian family, Haitian, way of life and everything else in Newark at the time when you were a kid?
Yo, when I was a kid, I would say like this, like the early 90s out there. And my dad, they come from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. So he had, those very popular. He brought a brand new Dodge Omni. You remember those, the hatchback? I don't know if you know about that. So this car was really cool because it was like, it's kind of similar to the Civic hatchback. I was always overtaking like the urban race spaces.
Right. Yeah.
So they stole it. Like he just bought it. They stole it right on the block of Mapes Avenue. And this is where, I guess I'm 8 or 9. That you think you remember these things. And my father, real slim, cool dude, he went to grab the machete type. Like, I'm gonna go get this car back. And my mom's like, please, no. It's like Sounds of Music or some shit. Like,
it's pretty heavy though when you're an 8-year-old seeing it.
And then that's when you start to look at the way, I'm only watching TV. I'm like, oh, just call the police. The police is like, don't do anything. Just like they would tell you now. They're like, you can't really do anything, right? And they stood in front of the house with the fucking car. And then my father comes from a different country. He was like, this ain't how it goes down where I come from. I'm going to go get my car back.
Was it a distinct difference, though, the way you were treated because you were outsiders, technically?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then, people talk about it all the time, like, how Africans treat African-Americans versus Haitians. I remember one time being in a barbershop with my mom. This guy's like, yeah, these dirty Haitians, he's coming in the neighborhood and all that. She's like, excuse me. He told me to get out the chair. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? He's like, because we're the dirty Haitians he's talking about. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. He's like, oh, so you didn't know I was Haitian? Because now that you know, like, you don't understand the history of my country and what we've done for African Americans, what we've done for the world. And this is how you treat us. That's because that's the story you're going to tell. So we'll find a different barber. And this guy apologized up and down to try to get this back. Like to the point, like he almost went to kiss my mom's feet at that point because he knew what he did. And when he finally researched Haiti and realized what was going on, he was like, I didn't realize how much you're a queen. You know what I mean? My dad was going to go down there too, but he was like, yeah, craziness. Or like, Weekway. So it's right by Weekway Park.
Yeah.
We live down a block from Weekway Park.
Okay.
So they used to put bodies in there. And it was like these guys were so like idiotic. It's not that deep, man.
No, it's not.
It was, and then it has the most amazing golf course.
Go.
Yo,
There's
people
also
love that golf.
got a nice walking track around it and everything. Yeah, people are going to see it. Like,
Yeah, but it gets wild. Like, I remember my parents would tell me like, they were walking across, like, because they're going up Mapes Avenue, because it's up the hill. So you go in Weequahic Park and you're walking up, and some guy pulled out a gun on them, both of them, when they were walking, and was like, give me everything. And my father just froze. But my mom this is the testament to the Haitian woman. My father kind of froze because, he's got his wife there, and he's just standing there. And my mom stood in front of the gun. She was like, let me tell you something. If you're going to shoot him, you're going to have to shoot me. So she looked real crazy, like a crazy lady. So he kind of just was like, well, fuck this. She put the gun to her forehead, like, shoot me. And my father was just kind of frozen in that situation. And I'm just like, and when they tell me that story, it was like, and the guy walked off, that's when they knew, let's move out of here.
yeah,
That's when we moved to Irvington. But the ghetto is a ghetto. See what I'm saying?
next town over.
Yeah, next town over. But like, the borderline of, just kind of went up Lyons Avenue, like the borderline of Hillside, Union, Maplewood, all in one. So it's like, it was such a sharp contrast. So they actually let us go outside because now we own the house. Before we were in a 3-bedroom apartment.
Right.
So then we just kind of like had the ability to like ride bikes and stuff like that.
Proper. Was Newark just because that's the first place you landed? And Irvington became more, well, you know what, we know the lay of the land now and going to move there because there's, maybe more Haitians there.
Yeah, that's part of why they came to Irvington. But what happened is my uncle is Belgian.
Okay.
And my auntie, she's Haitian, and they met in Tanzania. She's an RN. My father's sister was an RN out there.
Okay.
And Luke, that was the name, Luke, right? Luke, they, fell in love, whatever, quote unquote, they fell in love. And they came over here and they moved to South Orange.
Okay.
So they sponsored my dad and brought my mom over. And then they stayed with them for a while, but they knew this couldn't work. Because my mom is used to being in huge compounds. And like, where my mom's from, it's like this would probably be like a generator room or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
My dad comes from like the hood. My mom comes from like bouginess, like military.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they never really liked my dad because it's all about money. Haitians will sit you down, like, how much money you have in here? Let me see. It's that type of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But the cool thing is my dad was like the face of Coca-Cola and Haiti and stuff like that. He was just a cool dude out there, So these guys, and they're hippies, like, because they didn't have us till like their 30s.
Right, so they're doing their own thing. Yeah.
Doing their own thing. My father went to school in Mexico. So they came over here and they just want to, get away from the ridiculousness that was happening in Haiti at the same time. Because, you had Duvalle and his kid, Baby Doc, and people were disappearing. Like my father's friend who was educated was disappeared. So that's the first thing you do, is get rid of the educated people and the artists. Those are the people you want to get rid of. Because those are the ones who try to do, like, Viva la Resistance, like, think of the French Revolution.
Yeah, outside the box, doing things that, like, more creative, more... They're not going to be, like, the drones.
Subversive, like, street art, saying, this is mind control. So artists are the ones that you want to get rid of. Because they're the ones that help create things to make you think a different way. You don't even realize it's happening.
So would you say your dad was the main reason that you got gripped on art at such an early age?
Oh, yeah, for sure. My dad, he was an artist in himself. He used to do photography and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was into computers and just his style, like, just the Haiti cowboy boots and just the whole idea and stuff like that. And just his painting and stuff that he would do. I'm sorry. He could like draw the bathroom exactly like in terms of like engineering.
Right.
So engineering, I realize, is such an important aspect. I think in any child's life, like I feel like if you could put a kid in something, it should be like some sort of engineering class because it actually gets that brain thinking of doing different things and using different ways.
And then where did you get what was the first time he goes, or like the first time that you felt the urge to go, I like this, I'm going to get into this. This is something that...
Honestly, graffiti. The graffiti is something that you're forced as a kid because a lot of times people can't go high. So now people go high as fuck. Like you're low and you can just see people writing on the walls. But that didn't get to me because some of it I didn't understand all that crazy. And I realized that was a language and I wanted to learn that language. And it was this guy, and I always look him up and you can find him. It was this guy, Try One. He was all over Newark. Like they still.
And this is even at 8 years old.
Yeah, into like 12, 13. I would look at this stuff and be like, This one I like because he used actual letters. Kind of reminds me of like Banksy, like you can read it.
Yeah.
You know, that's like this
Yeah,
shit.
it's not like abstract. It's easy to see.
But it's a language too. So let's not disrespect that for the graffiti people.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a style of writing. It's kind of like, you know, not understanding Japanese, for example. So I guess like my street cred's away because I'd be like, what the hell? Like my boy from Montreal be telling me that's what that say. That's glyph, Dre. I'm like, oh, okay. But anyway, try one as a kid. And I remember being out in Newark. And then, you know, I'm like, try one. I'm like, for me, this is like the ghetto moment. And I'm standing there like, you know, I like this. And then the dude on the block was like, yo, man, dude, that says Tyrone. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Wait. It was a T-Y-R. Yeah. A T-Y-R. And then he put O-N-E and then put a circle.
So you're thinking it's something.
But the way he did it, it was very subversive in terms of like, try one. Try what? What am I trying? But it's just, I learned about putting your name. That's what it was all about. Right. It's like, yo, that's me. I'm Tyrone. That's me, the street artist from Newark. You know, and I read a couple of articles. I remember one time as I got older, there was a huge article now about Tyrone causing so much public issues and the type of money he would have to pay because, you know, this is like vandalism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then that's when I started researching the Bronx and all these places. So I started really liking the graffiti, but I knew there was a better way to do this.
Yeah.
And it kind of played into like going downtown Newark. A big thing was like these guys with spray paint t-shirts and stuff like that. I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do it. That's why I started like painting on shirts because I'm like, there was always a better way to do this and customize it. I like the actual paint because it just reminds me of going to like the museums or something like that. I rarely saw that. You know what I mean?
You could feel it a lot more though, can't you? With the paint, like the weight of it.
Exactly. And I always try to use non-toxic paints, anything that can't like affect my skin because I have sensitive skin. So I make sure I pick things that will not affect me, you know what I mean, or hurt anyone. Like anything I use is always make sure it's like chemical free and different dyes, and I try to use fruit and different things like that. And try to come up with new concepts. It's always a new thing.
So where does that take you then? Is there anything else that sort of gets you going? You've got the graffiti angle. You're sort of fascinated by all that stuff.
Comics was really it. It was just like...
Can you remember the first one you got?
Yeah, it was Spider-Man when I went... in that same area on Clinton Avenue, there was Dr. Delishford. And this shit is important. I just saw this shit today too. And, you know, I never know on Instagram how real this is. And I got to research it. It's like, you know, there was like a high percentage of black people who go see a black doctor live longer. Right. And my parents agree. And I guess the area in Newark, Clinton and like Van Ness in that area.
Yeah.
Clinton, Dr. Delishfort was there and he was a Haitian doctor. My pediatrician was a Haitian guy. So like he was amazing. And then he had a Spider-Man comic book in there. And then he gave it to me. And, you know, and I remember being such a young age too, because it forced me to read. My parents said I started reading early because I was guaranteed I didn't see Spider-Man on TV. I never saw him. Maybe I did, but I identified because he was just showing you like it's cool to be in a dentist. So like, Mom, you gotta read this to me. And I couldn't tell what he was. And it didn't identify me that I'm black or anything like that. Yeah. Spider-Man could be anyone. You don't know what's behind there. So I really enjoyed it. He was easier to draw. Yeah. Because I didn't have to, you'll see that, like I didn't have to do the nose, the face. I just need to concentrate on the way he contorts his body. Mm-hmm. So I really love that. So a lot of my early drawings was like circle and just kind of like Spider-Man type stuff. I loved it.
So as you get older, right, and it progresses, are there any specific things from home, like from your family's home that you consciously bring into what you do?
Everything. I mean, just from the sight, the smells, everything that is Haitian culture was me growing up, you know, from just the way that my parents dressed. Because, you know, the way you dress was so big. Like with Haitians, and if I say it wrong, guys, please don't beat me up. It's like you go to a birthday party like you're going to go see the queen. If you're going to go see the queen, you always overdress with Haitians. It's very Haitian-like. The only competition is Nigerian dudes. When you see a Nigerian dude, like you wear your shoes and shit, and he's got like a purple suit on. It's like, bro, you won. The dressing competition between... even the weddings. Oh, okay. Even the weddings. Like people always talk about the Nigerian weddings and stuff like that. Haitian weddings just are so crazy.
Next level.
Oh my God. Like people talk about parties, and I think that's something that, and I blame my parents a little bit for my party because it's like we were so sheltered. But one thing that we would go to is these parties, and we would jump in, and this is where I knew I loved New York because I knew once we started hitting that Holland Tunnel. things about to change. Like we were going to New York and it was just like an enormous amount of Haitians on Flatbush. The smells, like some days I go there, I actually kind of tear up because I didn't grow up there, but we were there almost every weekend. And it was just like the smell of Brooklyn. All the cabs are all Haitian. They're all talking to each other in Creole. And I'm like, I understand this. Yeah. Whereas in Newark, there's some there, but like you don't really see this. It's like now I feel like I'm actually in Haiti. My parents are talking, they're bartering on this.
Do you see them change as well? Like straight away, they feel a level of comfort now as well. Like, oh, this is home kind of thing.
And then, Haitians, there's a thing where they don't, how do I explain this? They don't show affection. Like people will be like, oh, like, you don't just kiss my mom. Don't you kiss everyone? When you walk into a place, you kiss everyone, but the affection isn't really shown, but it is shown like in dancing and things of that nature.
So is that something that you pull?
Oh, yeah. I would watch, I remember.
Like the clothes and the movements. And
like my father wasn't bringing home flowers or any of that crap. Like, I bought you a house. Like, chill. I brought you to America. Like, I got to work. But like, these parties, the speaker system would be there. You didn't even know who owned the apartment because they were doing Airbnbs with these apartments. Whose apartment was this? Some Hispanic guy's apartment in Brooklyn that they took over. And the speakers, they'd be like, don't do it. And my father would just dance, and he was really good at it. And to the point, he's like, I'm going to show you this. He would hold me by the hips, which was crazy. I'm crying. He's like, listen, I may not show you anything, but what I'm about to show you now will be for the rest of your life. You need to do this. You need to learn this. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I love it to this day. The music, sound, me hiding under the coats. So all of these things I bring into my art. Like that woman dancing right there, that's Compa. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, in the far back,
Yeah, like the way she's holding her in the dance, it just doesn't happen anymore. And it's kind of gangster because if you bring your girl to a dance, some dude could be like, can I dance with her? Because any old school French like that, it'd be like, nah, bro, I don't want you touching my girl. Because it's such a close merengue kind of dance. So all of that's in my art, man.
Yeah. You use a lot of, like, I'm looking around now and there's all bits and bobs of wood and things that you found, a lot of reclaimed materials. How do you choose the materials? Because especially if you're trying to incorporate such a movement and a rhythm or whatever it is that you're bringing in from all the influences from home or Spider-Man or the quickness of the graffiti and the way that it strokes, like how do you choose the materials that you do work with?
A lot of it goes back to my father. Like that piece that's on wood, I remember that being in a paper mill playhouse, in Millburn. It was a show for Black History. And one girl, I was sitting there.
It's the one with the arm, right?
Yeah. Girl looked at it. She was like, yeah, it looked like something my dad made. And that shit hit me. As everybody was talking, I started stuttering. I was like, yo, like, you said it. She was like, yeah, because it's like, I really like it.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you Haitian? She's like, I am. I knew it because it's so Caribbean. And that piece actually centers on my father creating things. My mom would hate it. Like, maybe he'll make the wall. It was kind of always bizarre. It was always kind of like half done and never finished because that's kind of like any kind of carpenter. And my dad's not a carpenter. He's like computer programmer. He would fix printers. Like that's what he did. He worked for like Buck Consultants in Secaucus dealing with computers and shit. But like he still had like a gangster version.
He would come home with something like an old skateboard.
And then he would do it. Like I seen him build the whole fire escape out of wood. Like I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Like where'd you learn that? He's like, yeah, he didn't have his dad.
Right.
He grew up with just his women, so he could sew. But he wasn't catty. Like Haitian men are very catty. Not my dad. He ain't talk. He just make jokes.
To be fair, if he's living in a house with a load of women, he knows when to talk and when to keep his mouth shut.
Like he grew up with his so it was his mother and his auntie.
Okay.
Together. My auntie was like a seamstress. And my grandmother, I think she was just like having babies. And that was her thing. She was a rolling stone. Haitians are funny, man. They all their brothers and sisters are like half brothers and sisters. It's like, damn son, stones out here.
You come up with the idea and then search for a specific piece of something to sort of accessorize it or build on it? Or do you see a piece and go, I'm going to take that? And I'm having that, and I'm gonna build something around that.
For sure. So I mean, everything that I look at, a lot of like, I push towards like dance hall, like Jamaican dance hall, like the dancing, seeing the women movements, or Haitian dance, Afrocentric dance, speculative fiction, and different stories that I've read between sci-fi and comics. Everything just kind of blends in, and I'm always just trying to bring Black people to the future. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, keeping old elements of it. Kind of like this piece up here, with the plate is like I always go to like grandma's house. They always have a plate. I'm like, nah, man, there's a way to do this better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I always see that. Like you go to the White House, there's always that circular piece that I just feel like is boring.
Yeah.
So I just kind of went with that with a lot of these, and just trying to put black figures in there. And
you have a couple of reoccurring themes as well, like the girl on the wall.
Yeah.
Like I like that picture, and it's got a lot of significance, hasn't it? But you do use that and draw on that.
Oh yeah, I do a lot, and that actually comes from and that's me taking from someone else. This is going from Norman Rockwell's Problem We All Live With. It was such an important thing to just see a young black girl just trying to go to school.
Do you encounter much resistance with your work, or find it difficult to gain recognition? Because again, like you're fighting against marginalization in a way, aren't you? You're trying to represent a group or a way, like this Afro-future art that you're trying to put out there. Like, do you encounter resistance to that?
Well, I think I start to think about the viewpoint of where people are. So, since the pandemic, and I feel like a good 10 years before then, black art was the hot art to collect for collectors. Because it goes through its stages where it's like, it's that time. And I feel like there was a resurgence when there was like, okay, let's start finding the artists. Because then people started doing the murals. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the pandemic, a lot of people started to see that they had an artistic gift that they didn't think about, which was a great thing that came from the pandemic. Mm. I think that we really got to sit with ourselves and then really see that. So yes, I think that a lot of times people, like you make black art. Like, nah, I make art. So stop it. Do you make white art? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So let's not do that.
Yeah.
So or like people look for me to be just doing straight graffiti, and I think it confuses them when I'm like, nah, this is fine art, baby. Like this ain't graffiti. It could be, and some people will say graffiti is fine art too. So
art is subjective. So how, in your opinion, here, how do you think the art world can evolve to provide more meaningful representations of your culture or the cultures around?
Yeah, because art can be very stuffy. Even for me, sometimes when I go into certain spaces, it's very exclusive, right? And I feel like I'm one of those people that try to break down the door to say, hey man, I get it, and I understand the way to do this, to have the portfolio, to have the people, to have the credits and all that. But I'm all about direct to consumer. I want young collectors to start with me. Maybe they might be going to medical school. Start collecting with me as they become doctors. Potentially these are the people that's going to be paying that money for the art.
Yeah.
So I want to see you start small and build, not just doing transactional sales, solely one piece on the street and then I never see you again. I want to build relationships, because that's usually my feedback from like other artists. They'd be like, "Oh, Dre, you have such long conversations with people." I'm like, because I care about people. I like people, and I spent so many years in my studio just painting. I love connecting with them. But sometimes when I walk into a gallery space, I just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Now it's a business, and art is a business, and sometimes it kind of brings me back to like my Bank of America days. So it's all about connecting with people, giving them a product, and getting paid for the product.
But also having them understand about you and about your process and about what you're putting out there, right? I mean, it is, I understand that about a relationship. Like if you've got someone who, like, if you understand, like for example, God man, you got some big feet.
Oh, baby.
Jesus. Yeah, big old feet there. Big old stripy socks as well.
Yeah, Christmas socks.
Perfect. The best. But, you understand what I like. I understand what you're about.
Yeah.
If I think you're doing a good job, that's it. Like, I'm going to come back to you for something else. Was there ever a choice? I mean, you mentioned it a little bit then about Bank of America, right? Was there ever a point where you've got to choose between going full-time with the art or staying with a more conventional job? Because, you worked at Bank of America for a number of years. When did you come to that decision to prioritize to go full-time with the art and with your creative work?
Even when I was at Bank of America, I was painting. I was always painting, and I would even pass my portfolio around and stuff like that. People would say, I like that. And it just couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And then the more I went to museums and, on my off time, because Bank of America is great because they always had like Museum on Us, because they give so much money that I would be able to get into all of the museums, anything at any time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And anytime, if you have a Bank of America debit card at the beginning of the month, you can get into a lot of these museums. You just got to check like the Museum on Us. It's pretty dope.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can get into like a lot of these.
That's good to know.
Yeah. You just have to have a debit card.
I think my missus has got a Bank of America.
Yeah, if you got a debit card, you can pretty much get into a lot of these museums. You just go onto the website, go to Museum on Us, take a look in the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
And it's really dope, right?
goes out next week at the beginning of April. Everyone's going to go
because they donate so much. If you look, a lot of music is always Bank of America logo. And most of the stuff, like any art stuff that happens, the tour here, all of it is like Bank of America giving money. Because they're big on the arts.
Yeah. But you get to the point where you're like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh,
is it you?
Yeah.
Is it you and people around you, or is it just you?
It's changing the market, to be honest. It's 2008. And, I was there. It was like 9 years, some shit like that. Like the crust of 10. I just say 10 because it's like 9.5. But like, I didn't know what I was going to do next. But I knew that during that time at Bank of America, I was buying flat file cabinets.
Right.
And then I was like that, but the smaller ones. And I was converting them into like coffee tables. And I was selling them for like $2, $3, $4 grand. And I continued doing it, but it's so much work because I was younger. It was like, this is a lot of work. And, sometimes I've been seeing people posting those for like 6K. You know what I mean? So then I was like, yo, I'm going to just do them quick and do them for like 1,600. So I was just knocking them out. I was just knocking them out. And I was living in Hoboken in a U-shaped apartment at this point. I was in a U-shaped apartment. So we had the whole floor, me and my roommate.
Yeah.
She was from Lithuania, Rasa. So she had one side room all the way across, and then we had a U, and then the kitchen was there. 3 different entrances. It's like those weird apartments where you had our entrance. So that was cool. So it like felt like my own little apartment. I kind of like Dexter, I put plastic everywhere, and then I was just sanding. She's like, metals. I did like for the Hoboken police at one point. I did like their lockers and shit like that. It was pretty dope. I was like, I like this. I like working with my hands, believe it or not. And then I decided to go back into like the finance industry and working for National Debt Relief. Man, that was a nightmare. And then
why? What's that? I just fought on the phone.
Yeah. This was like debt settlement, shit like that. Yeah, on the phone. So then at that point, I got even more money. I made money there. Don't get me wrong. I put it away. I'm like, I'm gonna get a studio. And then from there, after that studio, I just walked out of National Debt Relief. I was done. Yeah. And I just been doing acai stuff, just serial entrepreneur, doing acai with my buddy, Bank of America worker, and my art.
More recently, you've taken to selling pieces on the street, eating on the street, being out and about. What are some of the challenges that you've faced from being out and about? Do you enjoy it?
I definitely enjoy it.
Not at the moment because the weather's
great. So that was new because you got to remember, I started in the summer. I just traveled across America from Jersey City all the way to Portland, Oregon. Went through the different the dust states. What is
was this
flatlands?
Was this after you were like, forget the I'm done with the net debt relief and Bank of America and all that stuff?
This was in between. I was still doing my art, but I wasn't outside with my art. And then I started meeting artists and building more of an art community here in Jersey City. Okay. And I guess subconsciously I was creating a name for myself, and I don't even realize I'm doing it. Right? Because anything I do was all about art. Anything I posted was about art. And then once I got my mind and I went outside and I camped in Portland and all these places, I was like, I got to be outside. I didn't realize I need to be outside. Yeah. And I just see a bunch of jokers doing their art. I was like, yo, I could beat them in this. That's all I was like, I could box them, win. And, I met a couple of artists out here and they stay in like Washington Square Park. So I was like, you know what? I want to come outside. And it's essentially all the stuff I've ever done, but it's different. You're just standing outside. It's like, I'm never a drug dealer.
Is it?
So it's like drugs, but I've definitely sold acai. So I'm like, it's kind of like selling acai. It's like drugs. You know what I mean? Like I got the drugs for you.
Well, talk me through that then. So talk me through what you do on the street. Like you're there, I've seen the setup. You know, it's cool. You put all the pictures out. You do a little bit while you're there as well. You're doing a few little bits and bobs.
But a lot of it is curating. And this is something I've learned, curating and watching other people, what they do, like to the point that they know using like the cracks in the floor to align your art, picking the right area. Or sometimes I knew groups of people that would come with like a speaker and have such amazing music that I'll turn my music down because these dudes were straight mixing some cool amazingness, bringing a crowd to me, having them look at the art. So it was just like a whole harmony happening there that I never thought I would be a part of. I just never saw myself because I used to see people. I've seen some of the people that's there before just walking by like, nah, that's crazy. But like, it's possible.
Do you think it was, you didn't do it because it was a fear to do it in the first place?
Definitely. It wasn't so much, you know what? There's always going to be a fear. And it's just kind of like, I think a lot of times people get stuck in how I'm going to do it. It's like, it's actually not that serious. You've got the space, you got the ability. It's just going out there and having conversations with people. And I think that's the scary part to people, because what if people be like, I hate it. But it's not true. If you believe, this shit, people keep saying it. And I would say it too, and I didn't even believe it, but I truly believe it. If you truly love something and you're truly honest with yourself about it,
Yeah.
it will come true. It will happen. People will notice it. Because most people are fake. Most of the shit you see out here is fake. Where like with my art, I'm real. I truly want it to sell. I truly want to live off my art. I want people to love my art, and I want to, leave something for the kids behind and all the different people so that they can see.
Yeah. What sort of things have you encountered on the street when you're selling or whatever, or you're out there curating or whatever it is that you're like, this crazy, like, is it as bad as you've got to swerve the cops?
Yeah, like, oh yeah, listen, just the park rangers, like that shit kind of made me really research the law.
Right.
So, and I'm one of those people that love watching those First Amendment audits. I love those things. So I've been watching their shits before this. So I'm like, these guys are great. They keep their cool. They got their cameras and they're running their First Amendment right. So I definitely always looking for their body cams. I'm a FOIA request it. I'm going to use the data.
Yeah.
I don't raise my voice. I go more the comedy style. And I always use the word, I'm not doing anything nefarious, am I? Nefarious is my
go-to word.
Like, as I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to say, I'm like, am I doing anything nefarious?
You can see the cops going,
here we go. And then I always ask for their business cards. They go, oh boy, bro. Think about it. This person is probably going to get me into trouble. Who's asking for business cards? Everybody's always shook up. I'm like, I'm not a criminal. So why should I be treated like one? Because during that time, it was like they were trying to clean up. Like, nah, don't try to clean up on me.
When you're not in here or when you're not at wherever else you're at, what do you value most about the time on the street?
First of all, you get to meet so many different people, especially in New York versus Jersey City and Jersey City too. You start to find out a lot of people are in the art business.
Right.
First of all, that's the next thing. Because that means the one time I was in the park, this guy, super cool on his bike. It's that deep summer. He's coming through like August. He's riding his bike. He was like, yo, get off the street. Come to the gallery. And he like threw a disc at me and it landed in my lap and it was like his gallery or whatever. This shit was dope. I was like, yo, good one, guy. And just wrote off. Like, there's some stigmatism that comes with this where like, oh, when you put your art on the street, everybody can see and it starts to lose its value to a lot of these like, I would say art dealers.
But does that go back to your point before about it being put on a higher, like on a pedestal?
It's very, I say like Bitcoin when they say like the gas station go, it's time to get out.
Yeah.
When the gas station guy understands it, it's time to get out. But like
your art can't be like that though, right? Because
yeah, exactly. Well, no, of course. Yeah. I look at it in high esteem, and I think a lot of times when I meet artists, I don't think they know the value of their art or understand the science. There's math to this, man. Like if you really want to do it, you go look, you take the size, you times it to figure out how much you spent. Recording how much you spent on paint. People don't do that. I do that. I look at how much I spent, how long it took. Because now I'm timing myself so I can make sure that I'm getting my money's worth in what I've done. Just so I can get an idea how quick, how fast, and stuff like that. And that's just data that I like for myself. And I think that's coming from a corporate background. I try to introduce that into it so I can keep myself organized.
Well, that's it as well, isn't it? It's not like, listen, it's one, like, there's a lot of cool stuff around here. But ultimately, you're trying to get paid as well, aren't you?
Sure, and I think people think that, art can be, like, don't get me wrong, I've gifted some arts to people as a gift. Yeah. That's just from my heart, but like in the end, my art should be, you need to pay me for my art, because if you truly care about me, look what I'm doing, you want to support me so I could keep on going. You know what I mean? So it's like, I still have friends that haven't bought pieces from me, which is always shocking to me. You know what I mean? For years, it's like, but I see you buying art.
But not me.
Not mine. You never come to my shows and shit like that.
Want to name anyone now while you're on the camera? Yeah. Throw some names out?
No. It's Friday. That's my good friend now. Oh, yeah. That's my dude Friday. Nigerian cat. He has not bought my piece. But now he'll support me. He's actually come to one of the shows before. So let me.
Yeah, not kidding. I'm reminding you up. But what's up with, because sustainability is such an essential aspect of your work, right? It's both in terms of the materials and the business side of things. Yeah. How do you see sustainability as a feature in the art world as well?
Well, yeah, because, it's always shocking to me how, I would go out and buy stuff like that and you need it. But then as I was printing things out on here, I was just kicking around all these Amazon boxes, right? And then I was like, this is pretty sturdy. And then because of the acai, and we'll get into that, I started understanding boxes in terms of one-sided, double wall, single wall, and then the price associated how much we're spending on cardboard boxes. This shit ain't no joke. I bought pallets, thousands of dollars of just cardboard, and this shit's on the side of the street. So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna use this to make art. Like, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's everywhere, but we're just throwing it away. Those Amazon boxes, I mean, to the point that my girl was like, yo, what's up with all these boxes? I'm like, I'm about to make art with them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So, and then you always hear people like, I used to do that. I don't do that. And I'm like, that's great. That's me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love it. It's a great medium.
That's cool. So on the topic of that, with the sustainability, you're also involved in the import of and the sale of acai, superfoods. Yeah. Superfood, right?
Yeah, superfoods. Yep.
Yeah. How did that come about?
Yeah, so my good buddy, he worked at Bank of America, and he was always has big ideas and things of that nature, and he always wanted to figure out a business. And then, you know, he got tired of that, and he started working on like Wall Street, and then he started working in like as a tax associate, whatever. But then he started working at Deloitte, one of the big fours. So he started pretty much auditing companies. Like,
right.
You would see like different high-end stores. So he would evaluate. So now he's learning so much, and he come back to me like, yo, dude, you think we could sell like fish? I'm like, fish, man. The fuck? He's talking about this timbaki, this Brazilian fish. I was like, bro, I'm not selling no fish. I don't know anything about it. But I'm sure it's like any product. We have to do some research. And then I didn't work out. And so now his family members were in Brazil, right? He had a wedding, like, you know, through marriage. Mm-hmm. And the one guy was like, well, I know a lot of the acai players. You know, if you come down here, I can make a introduction. So we all go down there, and we're sitting in the Amazon, and they're talking about acai like it's drugs. Next thing you know, a couple of months later, we're dropping our first container. So it's like 20 pallets. So it's about 3,500 cases of acai being dropped here in New York. And then figuring it all out. Right. And just, you know, getting increased. You know, every day was like a heist. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this here to there every day. It was pretty crazy.
And that's just what? Store to store?
Store to store. Like, literally what I'm doing. So it's not like I haven't done it before. Before I was out on the street, I was going door to door doing acai. To the point, sometimes I would see the artist, because then I started getting cool with the artist that was there, and I'm still doing acai. I would cut through Washington Square Park and give them acai. They'd be like, yo, you got that acai, man? And I would pass it to them. Because, you know, it was refreshing and cold. You know what I mean? And the delis, I know them. Like Heavenly Deli and all those cats, I sell to them. It's interesting. Like, I've even run into people that know me from acai. They're like, man, you do everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, but I'm not rich. Like, we rich on paper, you'll see that, but we like cash poor. And a lot of times it's funny, I've been making enough money with my art that I see myself out taking some of the things I've done with acai. But, you know, since I'm taking like a break because of the cold, and I've been doing like different ways to make money through art, I've been just focusing on building my online presence, which is very hard because it's so cold to me. Maybe even if the person's there, I can look them dead in the eye. Like, I guess that's where the old school is like, come on, man. Like, how's this work? They could show it to me, you know? Yeah. Just throw the dirt into my house and use the vacuum cleaner. Imagine those guys lugging that shit around all day. Damn it. I love going to those videos. That's crazy.
Door to door. Yeah, that's different.
I'm like, I need to feel better. I go, damn, that's crazy.
Look,
fucking proton pack on their back all through the work with the suit on and hard bottom shoes.
That is fun.
It's like, damn. And no, sell that shit.
No, someone worse. Yeah, exactly. Someone worse up.
The whole Encyclopedia Britannica.
That was the thing.
I loved it.
That was the thing.
Go right to the art part, all the naked chicks. I'm like, thanks, Dad. I like this one. He's like, oh, God.
It just falls open at the page every single time. Oh, it fell open at the same time. I don't know what's happening. That's brilliant. All right, so talk a little bit about your mate who from Bank of America helped you set up the acai. You talk about the guys that you meet on the street and in the park and things like that. Like, the community around you is a big part of your work. Like, even this little community you've got in here with the different units in this building. Yeah. Everyone in this building is a creator. Yeah. So everyone's looking for inspiration. Everyone's looking to play off each other. How was the scene, the local scene in Jersey City, Journal Square, Grove Street, wherever it is, supported your growth?
You know, I started my art career out here because I went to school here. So I always knew there was something special here. Like, I was the first gentrifier. I bought a condo like not too far around the corner on Romaine Avenue. So I was like the first gentrifiers here in like 2006. So I always knew that this is where the art was. You know what I mean? In terms of like the people and just kind of the story of The Simpsons. Here, if you look at where Journal Square Lounge is, it's actually, so there was this bar in Jersey City called the Tube Bar. And then these kids, I don't know where from St. Peter's Prep, wherever they're from, all the bar here in Jersey City.
I'll do the prank phone call.
Doing the prank. That's where he got the idea for Moles here in Jersey City. And if you go to it, you go to YouTube and you put like Tube Bar, you can hear like some of the old school tapes where they'll be like, hey, is there a Seymour?
Yeah.
It's like, there's a Seymour. Like, so like the culture is here. You know, you got the Stanley Theater, you got all these places where big artists used to play. So it's here.
Yeah.
And it's just the armpit away from New York. So I always loved that there was like a small knit community and just full of culture.
Yeah.
So this is like where artists harbor. That's why it's called Chill Town, because back in the day, all the artists, all the DJs would come here after New York and make it happen. So, and it's more affordable. Let's be honest with you. A lot of times we out here because that New York be wilding. First of all, it's super tight. Unless you're like a billionaire, you're not going to have a, you know, they make you want to struggle in these areas. Meanwhile, you got this beautiful land here in the Garden State.
Yeah.
Keep hating Jersey. I love when they hate it.
Oh, I love it. The guys around you now, like the lads you've got, and I talk a lot about community when I'm doing this, right? People coming from all, wherever they're coming from, talk about community and that community sort of helping people out when they struggle. So like if you've had difficult times, I don't know, you're not selling or you just can't, you know, you have a little bit of a block and you can't put together. Is there people around here or people around you now that really give you I don't want to say a kick up the arse, but like put an arm around you and say, let's go. Get this done.
They try to show you that there's other ways.
You reciprocate that back to them.
Like, you know, they start talking about grants and different things, and it's like, it's a plethora of different things to do for artists. It's not crazy. Sometimes it's a lot. You actually got to kind of sit down and focus on what can I do, because they'll throw everything at you. Like, I just see my buddy, he just took one of his artworks and put it on a yoga mat. And he's like, he's not ashamed of it. I was like, you shouldn't be ashamed of that. That's dope. Like, he did one of his pieces. I'm like, that's amazing. The yoga mats, people walk with that all day. And it's so pungent and beautiful in terms of the pink color. I just saw that today and I was like, yo, I fucks with it. It's super nice. You know what I mean? So I think I love artists because they think outside the box, but they could be some of the most depressive people you could meet. So I always have to take it with a grain of salt because I remember one time, there was an artist at the Other Mod Cup. You know, the Other Mod Cup on Palisades? Yes. And then he was down there. And he had an art studio. There's like an art studio down there, which was crazy. And he had like a Snow White with a bow light that he created. And he's like, I gave up on art and shit because that shit ain't white. Right. He was like, oh man, fuck that. You know, maybe one of your friends might want to buy one of the pieces. And then, you know, you're lucky to get that. And they just probably feel bad for you.
But that comes down to that belief, though, that you're talking about the belief. If you believe in something and if you love something enough, you have that belief in it and you're going to...
Me up. He didn't remember the things he was saying. It was just like, made it seem like there was no hope. I was like, nah, I ain't like this dude. Because I remember there were people like that at Bank of America. I would see that shit. Like,
and people like that. And it translates to everything, doesn't it? Like, you've got to stay positive.
Yeah, and
you've got to have that belief.
If you continue and believe it, research it, understand it, you become an expert at what you're doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, people make money with art. You know what I mean? People make money with music. And it's not just one way, you know?
What do you value about Jersey City the most as a cultural hub?
I would say the growth and the diversity I've seen over the years. I don't remember it ever being so homey, maybe because I was younger. But as I've gotten older, I've come to really enjoy and love this place. And it could be like, I'm tired of going to Brooklyn. I'm over it. Like, having to come back where it's like, why can't we have these cool ass places where we can foster, where it's not just fist pump? Well, you know, like, Hoboken gets into them, like, oh my God. Oh. And there's been times where it's really cool neo soul stuff that used to happen in Hoboken, different. Them shits are gone. Yeah. Like, I can't even begin to think of some of the places I can't even remember the nights that I've had were amazing. But like, you know, there's still spots here in Jersey City that are like, there's the after hours. There's some really cool things happening at night. And you as an artist, I get to take it in. It's like, there's actually like a scene. Because I was thinking about like, you know, the 80s with the Downtown 81 and the different artists. But like, we have like our own version here happening. And I don't think most people know it's even going down. Yeah. Most people have no idea that this is, which is really funny because everybody goes downtown for the art. The art's over here, man.
Journal Square.
Oh, Journal Square, man. It's crazy.
So looking back, mate, what have you learned about yourself through the struggles and successes in your journey up to this point as an artist and an entrepreneur?
I would say that knowing what you're worth. I think a lot of times we forget that you did this, you created it like a child. You shouldn't just give it away. Sometimes I see people literally giving their artwork away. And that's just their style. I'm like, I'm not into that. Like, this is my price, and I stay firm on it. Don't get me wrong, we can work out a deal, but like I'm firm on my price. Don't play with me. Don't waste my time.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not like you're churning these things out and they all look the same.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm creating a whole library of creations that I want to be in museums.
Cool. What do you hope people take away from your art?
Feel the story, feel the energy, the thought that goes into it, and something you probably never really seen before. Because I think that's what I get a lot. They're like, I've never seen this. Like, what is this? So I really enjoy that. Like right now, I've had so many people pass away. I just haven't done anything, but I'm just going into the world of death. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know how dark it's gonna be. Like it'll be like my death time. So I'm gonna do a lot of things that deal with like the afterlife.
Yeah.
And just kind of like just the other world. Where do we go?
Do you want that to be, I mean, again, you're not into it yet, but do you want it to be a comforting thing, you think? Or is it going to be a bit of everything?
A play on me now trying to like grieve. And I'm tired of thinking of the grieving process. I want to like create and remember that period of all these people that have passed away. And how can I make it where it makes me what I have? I don't want to have something that's just looking like it was something like made by a crazy German band or something. I don't know where. You know what I mean? Something aesthetically pleasing, but then it really like talks about the afterlife, new beginnings, and things of that nature. Where like there's like that one, I can't remember that artist, but I love the way I'm gonna bring him up. Cosby did. I can't remember the name of that painting, but
Cosby reference.
Yeah, it's a Cosby reference where they purchased a painting and they talked about black wealth, and that was the first time I heard black wealth. Where they came back, they were like, "Man, everybody in school heard you pay XYZ for this painting." And he actually took an artist and made him famous, and it became like a very famous painting for black funerals. And it was just basically a procession of black people going to a funeral. I can't remember the artist's name.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Hey, Google, what's the name of the painting that was on the Cosby Show about the black funeral?
According to Wikipedia, Funeral Procession is the name of a painting by Ellis Wilson, which went from obscurity to notoriety in 1986. When it was featured heavily in the episode, The Auction of the TV series The Cosby Show's second season. To find out more, look for the link in your Google Home or Google Assistant app.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, Allison. So, like, he took it from, like, obscure, but, like, every black funeral home I go, it's there. So, I'm going to kind of look at, I love looking at that painting because it's just so known, because the Cosby Show changed a lot of people's lives. I don't think people realize what he did with that art. That was like my first foray, like, oh, so you do pay a lot of money for art, and black people do too.
Yeah.
So he opened me to a whole new door and opened me up to college too, because I probably wouldn't have went to college if it wasn't for Cosby Show.
Well, it's nice that something good's come out.
Yeah, I know, right? And his secret juice. That episode is always weird.
As someone who's both a creator and a business person, what advice are you giving to young artists now who are trying to make a name for themselves while staying true to themselves as well? Like, what advice are you giving young Andre 20 years ago?
I would say always network. And when I say network, not just to network, but like make actual connections with real people. And if people are already doing it, go see what they're doing and how they're doing it and learn. I think sometimes there's the ego, like, I know. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. Have you been on the street selling art? You don't know what that's like. It's not for the faint of heart. Because, you got all kind of things that's going to happen. So I would say network more. Make sure your portfolio is tight. Always keep adding to your portfolio, kind of like playing your LinkedIn, always adding to your portfolio. And even me, I got to do that. Update your website. Like, that's what I've been working on. It's been crazy. So I got a whole new website coming out.
Yeah.
A little bit more interactive with like my shop and all that. So it's like you can buy, even though it'll be cold. And just like everyone's doing it, you might as well join. You know what I mean?
It's not you. It's just a piece of the puzzle, isn't it? It's not you're not solely defined on that coldness of a website. It's just, why not?
Why not?
And what if someone comes across it, goes, and it's done, and all of a sudden you've made X amount for selling a piece. I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you think yourself evolving in the next couple of years?
Solo shows. Like, I haven't really had a really big solo show. Really want to have a big solo show, maybe abroad. Definitely abroad. Hopefully different parts of Africa, different parts of Europe, different parts of the United States. Just not to keep myself just so local here, but just to broaden my horizons, because my skill set is so amazing that I think anywhere I go, I will be dominant and do well. Because I just watch some of these cats. If I go hunt there, I'll be like, all right, watch out. Let me show you, like, Newark, Jersey, Haitian. How's that saying go when you're like that dude that does a lot? Not a Renaissance man, but a jack of all
trades.
That's
Yeah.
master of none. But like, I feel like, having a wide array of abilities help me create not just one thing, from comics to just books to everything I use when I'm creating. So I'm definitely want to put that in there, and a lot more wording, a lot more direct sayings on my paintings. That's where it's going, and bigger. And
what are you most proud of yourself up to this point?
my tenacity, and when all odds are against me and people may not believe, I make them believe, and they're like, "Wow, you actually did it. I didn't think you could." I'm like, why couldn't I? As long as you believe, it will happen. I'm a testament of it. Born in Newark, I've traveled the world, I've seen the world. All of that's in my art.
Just to go back quick, just to finish up a little bit, what that thing about before when you said about fear and how people are not prepared to cross that line and go and do something. What do you say to that? Like, how can people embrace the full potential? Even the people say you can't do it. I never thought you could do that, because they're probably not the type of people to cross that.
Yeah. I stopped worrying about what people think, because I think that's the biggest thing. Once you start, if you worry about what everyone thinks, you'll never get anywhere. And 9 times out of 10, I realize when I do something, people like, I wish I could do that. I'm like, I just did it. So what's next? I'm supposed to be rich, motherfucker. Like, I can do it. This being there. Sometimes that can be overbearing for people. And, I remember when I was younger, you like cower yourself down. I can't do that no more. I got to be me. And people don't hate that. They join me. What's up with people?
Yeah.
The jealousy is real.
Do you think it's the jealousy of just you having the wherewithal and the lack of fear and the balls, if you want to call it that, to go and do something? Not necessarily what you're doing, but just the fact that you're like, you know what? Shackles are off, gloves are off. I'm doing this. Like, this is what I'm doing. And some people can't comprehend that. So that's where the jealousy.
Yeah, and then I'm a talker, so it's like gravitational pull when I come around. Yeah. So it's like I bring that energy because I do want to talk to you. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of times small talk can drive people crazy. Like, I do like having intelligent talks, but it's good to have little bits of small talk. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I never know where that conversation will lead. Like, I just had a conversation with this one guy yesterday. Find out he lives on my block and he runs Tipsy Tie-Dye.
Oh, yeah?
Which is in Hoboken.
Yeah.
Find out he was the director of Blueprint Denim that was downstairs. He knows all the players here. But it's such a small niche of people that have amazing things. And he's like, yo, hit me up on Instagram. Tipsy Tie-Dye.
Is that where people go in groups and get drunk and tie-dye T-shirts or something like that?
Right, stuff happened. And he's on my block.
Yeah.
And he knows my building.
But you don't know until you cross the line, and it's the question.
Conversation.
Well, it's like you and I, right? Let's be honest. I mean, I'm sat in your studio, whatever time it is on a Thursday night, because all I said was, do you want to store your artwork behind our table in a pub? Because it was in the middle of the floor, and then you start talking, and
these are conversation pieces, and then it's bold. Like, I've always been bold. Like, it goes back to me going to high school. Like, we're all wearing like just khakis and shirts, but we always had some flair, like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You had a different type of blazer. Some people did put their blazers inside out. I had my bow ties. There was always some kind of flavor. It's just part of the culture, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to have the flair, and you can't be afraid. Because I realized all these people be dying afraid. Nah, really, why don't you do it?
Yeah.
I'd rather do it and fail. And trust me, I failed at certain things. I failed and I keep on going. Like, it's just, some people just can't believe it.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like a lot of people around me, they wait to see how I do and they start taking chances themselves.
Yeah.
And when I falter, and I have some friends that are amazing, sometimes they have to remind me, Dre, you are one of the smartest people I've ever met. Sometimes they hit me off with that, and they just kind of know. It's crazy. And then I'm just like, I'm right back in there. But I am human. I still fall, but like, I always keep myself up high because it's like Seinfeld. It always works out for me. You know what I'm saying? 20, like 10 comes.
Yeah.
Crazy. It all kind of like evens out. Because I guess God sees me taking these chances. It's like, I'm real. Like, yo. And I think people see I'm genuine. I'm not lying to you. Like, I'm dead ass.
No. Yeah, definitely not.
And I'll keep repeating myself over and over until you believe.
All right, last question. What have you got coming up that we can look out for?
Show right now in Newark. The Femme Curators is at the Indigo Residency in Newark. It's like right there on Broad and Market. It's all about dreams and unfeathered dreams and ideas and stuff like that. And one of my pieces is in one the curators even explained is like their favorite room. So you guys should really go check it out while it's still up. And then you could just hit me up on my IG, Create Art, CRA, the number 8 art. And just DM me, and then we could get like a meeting and go check it out. It's really cool. And then I'm working on some solo stuff in here. Like I'm trying to I have a couple of things I'm supposed to do in terms of like for Jersey City as a community, like to have the community come into the studio, see me working and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm working on those. I just haven't been 100% with the weather and stuff like that, but I'm gonna be back and just creating more art, man, more art in the street. And you know what? Really localizing Jersey City.
Mate,
But,
thank
like,
you so much.
Yeah.
Have you got anything else?
Oh no, man! I was just gonna say, like, definitely want to thank you, man, because it's like you've been persistent for us to
Mate,
do
well,
this. It's been really cool. I hope we can do more of this, man, because I
It'd be
feel like
fun, yeah.
I hope my actual Andre's here. I don't have my glasses on. I'm just raw here with no shoes on, chilling on my couch.
It's very real.
And I enjoyed it. Believe it or not, I thought about this a lot because I watch a lot of podcasts and they always doing this. I never understand what that's about. But like, and I love it. Like there's certain ones that I love. So it's great to have a person that I could sit here and have a conversation and don't feel like it was work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I forgot about the camera, to be fair.
Yo, I completely forget about it. And then to start seeing my facial expressions like he's moving mad, they would say in our terminology. And you're moving mad ill. I was like, yeah.
That's a new one for me anyway. That's funny. All right, listen, before we go, couple of quick fire questions for you.
Yeah.
All right. What's one Olympic sport that you seriously think you can do?
Fencing, because I was a fencer.
Every week, right? I ask this question and someone goes, oh yeah, I was a fencer. Oh, I was a runner. I'm like, all right, fair enough. What's the most random one that you think you could do?
Polo. I can't even swim, but like I feel like if you
the pool's not that deep, so you could. You're quite tall. Yeah, you're quite tall as well, so you can.
Yeah, I feel like that's something I would like to do one day. People always assume basketball or something. I can't stand these sports, man. Believe it or not, like I'm always shocked. I feel like, damn, man. When I say that, it's like you lose a group of men friends when you're just not into football or basketball. It's just kind of like.
Been all over the world. What's the best place you visited?
When I think about it, honestly, it's got to be Vietnam.
Yeah.
Vietnam is always going to be the most beautiful, craziest place I've ever been. I mean, just in terms of money, how far my money goes, the geckos walking across the room, just paying like $2 American a night, and then they would wash my clothes and everything. I had a PowerBook TI behind the thing. They're like, hey, we noticed you put this back here, so we put it here. We didn't know. I was hiding it from you. Just amazing. People, amazing food. But can be scary. You know what I'm saying?
The biggest guy inside, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I was huge. When you walk around, people just try to pick me up because it's like a thing to show off to their date. Because they see a big dude. And during that time, it was like 2008. I was out there. They kept calling me Obama. Jesus Christ. This is like Obama.
Just the dreads as well?
Oh, no, I was bald.
I was walking around in a suit.
Yeah, dude, I had like polos on.
Who would play you in the movie?
If I had to, oh shit, I already know. Homeboy, Donald Glover. Hell yeah. Just the style.
Okay.
The art.
Okay. What's one thing you do on a regular basis now that you would never have seen yourself doing 10 years ago?
Waking up and thinking about what painting can I create all the time. Like, it's crazy. Like, what can I get creative? What newfound materials can I do and how can I make it happen? Like, I never thought about it as much as I do now. I love it.
Yeah.
That's all that. It's just 100% art. Like, what museum can I go see? What can inspire me? Does she inspire me? What is she talking about? Well, can I paint her face? Like, this is like my mind is 100% on art. That's like I'm looking at the contours of people's cheeks, their noses, things I never did as much now because I'm just so immersed in it.
Yeah.
And I just want to be number one, honestly.
What would be the name of your autobiography?
Man, DRE from Newark to Haiti. That's the best I can say.
Favorite superhero?
Spider-Man.
Okay. Divides opinion. Is Batman a superhero?
So I gotta say he is because technically I love the athleticism that he has where he's taking his mind and body to peak performance. So in all actuality, Batman might be the actual true hero that somebody could truly become. Because you remember they were talking about that one dude. I don't know. I'm always scouring the internet and I'm reading about this one dude that went off into like and found someone. He went out there like Batman, captured some dude, brought him back over here on some Batman shit, and grabbed the wrong person. They like locked his ass up. Like, this motherfucker.
Does that make him super?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But like, he had like all the tricks and shit. So other people have imitated this. You know what I'm saying? So
So we're
7 years.
calling him a super.
Yeah, because I see people that, and I see one guy be following this German guy. He like literally building like an Iron Man suit. Have you seen this motherfucker? He's literally. No, what? People.
All right, last question. What's one piece of artwork that you wish you could claim as your own?
Like, I don't know if I said it last time, but I think it's the
Banksy.
hell yeah, with the Basquiat. Like, I love that shit.
Yeah. The robot, right?
Yeah, well, you're getting
Battered down by, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was so ingenious. I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah.
It was like, he was doing the Black Man Macarena. You know what I'm saying? All right. I'm saying. So I love that one. And if I could say my some of the next piece, and I'm gonna go to like my man with the, I always forget his name. Like, this is not a pipe, and that shit was huge back then. I forget the name of that artist. Hey Google, who did the artwork? This is not a pipe. Who was the artist?
René Magritte's The Treachery of Images is one of the most famous yet persistently enigmatic works in the history of art.
René Magritte.
René Magritte. I'm really bad with names, but like cause this is what happens, right? I sit here and talk with my AI all day.
Andre, thank you so much, mate. I appreciate the time, and like I said at the beginning,
Dude, this is amazing. This should be more than we gotta
do something more of it, mate. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it, mate. I really do.
Great, man. That was fun.
That was good.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you or someone you know has a story to share, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us via our socials or visit www.crossingthepondpodcast.com to get in touch. Please be sure to subscribe, like, or leave a comment if you can. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Across Pond Podcasting.